I think that's where the importance of like, I don't know, just the communication and things, science communication and things like that come into play.
Yep. And throwing 30% pre-diabetic and we got a health emergency on our hands.
Yeah, I know. We gotta find a balance somewhere. We're like swinging to the extremes, you know?
Yeah. It is interesting. I wonder too, like how much like improvements in wearables and stuff is going to help like push this stuff too. So like, I mean, continuous glucose monitors have been on the market for a while. I think they need work still in terms of how well they predict what you would want to do during like an endurance race. But we're going to see continuous ketone monitors. I think those already exist. They just haven't hit the mainstream or the public market yet. But I mean, I can see a scenario where like you have that data and it's accurate enough in a quick enough amount of time where you know like your lactate, you know your blood glucose, you know your ketones, and you're fueling based on the numbers that are showing up on that. Or you're stressing it in training with those numbers, and then you're putting together your plan for race day that you do maybe a little less by the watch or by the wearable, but you just know from all the data you've collected in training what your needs are going to be at what frequency and stuff. I think that's going to be really interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, and all that, I mean, a lot of that stuff is available like for people to do, which is the coolest thing now, because it's like you don't like really have to guess anymore. I mean, even regarding, like you said, there's, you know, continuous ketone, continuous lactate monitors. Eventually, those are obviously going to become a thing, just kind of like you can get a CGM commercially pretty much available now. And then, you know, going to something like sweat, you can go get a sweat test to determine your sodium and potassium excretion. So there you can then figure out how much electrolytes you need, how much, you know, water intake you need. Obviously that will change, you know, if you do a sweat test in a humid environment, it's going to be different, but nonetheless, like you can determine what your hydration needs are. I mean, you can really quantify, even if you're not like a professional athlete, if you're just doing like road races on the weekend, like you can quantify what you need, you can quantify how it's impacting your body. So I think we're in a super cool, like time period to be like an athlete, or just to be like to be a metabolic athlete, or like a regular athlete, or just somebody concerned with their health, because the wearables are allowing you to do that. But yeah, I mean, just how cool would it be to, you know, you have your iPhone in front of you or something like that, or some sort of thing on your watch. Obviously would be easier if you were running, and it just tells you levels of everything, like what's going on during the run. I mean, you literally don't have to guess about anything. It'll tell you when to fuel, you know, how many carbs you need at this time.
It'll be a projection screen in front of you.
Yeah, because you'll be wearing your Apple Vision Pro, so you'll be able to see like all your all your health metrics in front of you. Blood glucose going down from
take 12 grams of carbohydrate now. Take 10 grams of ketones now.
I know. We joke, but man, it's coming eventually.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of the guesswork out, which I mean, I've been running long enough where sometimes I wonder like maybe it would be better without that, but then it's also like, what are you going to do about it?
And in a way it's like the over optimization, paralysis by analysis type of thing, where like, when I was, you know, coming up and just starting running, and I had just probably even barely had a GPS watch. It was just like a time watch. I mean, running was certainly like more fun. I mean, it's fun now because I have all the data, my, you know, cadence rate, my stride rate, it's like stride length, all that kind of stuff. But so it's fun to see, but you can definitely get kind of worn down in it. And for something like a race, I can imagine, I mean, you know, when I do a race, I wear my watch. I rarely ever look at it. If I'm doing, and I don't put my heart rate monitor on, I'm not looking at my heart rate during the race. But I imagine that there are people out there who certainly do that. They're like looking at their heart rate during the race, trying to, you know, determine what the intensity they're at. I think all of that contributes to cognitive load during a race, and like adding more variables like glucose or ketones or lactate or whatever would only just contribute more to that. So it could be a good thing, but you want like your coach who is on the sidelines to be, you know, have like a little wire in your ear or something telling you about that, versus you thinking about that during the race. Because I think that more data isn't always better, and sometimes you just need to like disconnect and just go out there and run, or just go out there and race. I think that's certainly important.
It's a great point. I had a coaching client who was targeting the 24-hour, and she had done a few of them, so was looking to kind of take another step forward, and just got really dialed with her crew, where she had like a spreadsheet and all the data put in there. And we had a conversation kind of before her race, and you know, she's getting nervous like everyone does before a race. I was like, you know what you really need to do is you need to stop worrying about the spreadsheet and what's on it, and just commit to one thing.